Hey there. I'm really excited about today's live, and let me get our guest today on. It is going to be Freedom Deodorant. And ladies, this is not a conversation you're going to want to miss. This is a dear girlfriend of mine. Her name is Ira, who is championing this brand with passion and purpose. And we are going to talk all things hot women, aging, what it means to be gray, beautiful, living life on your own terms and doing it healthfully. So let me add in, let's see here. He comes through. I'm so jazzed. I actually haven't spoken to my girlfriend in quite a few years, so this is going to be great. Yay!
I am so happy we
Let me
made
just
this
look at you for a
work.
minute.
Right? Look
We,
at, I got hair now and everything. Oh, no
any
kidding. I'm
of
good.
this,
I'm
I
good.
mean,
I'm
obviously we
good.
haven't spoken in a long time, and it's so, I've always felt so unbelievably connected to you and your brand, because I remember that day that we met at Einstein's Bagels, and you were, on the fence. Do I take this and run? All of that. And, I've been using this from the very beginning. I mean, I remember I was social mediating this for you. I was taking my deodorant to news, programs I was doing. I was taking it to Germany, taking pictures when it wasn't even cool to do such a thing, because
Oh, you sent me the most beautiful pictures too. I remember that with the flowers
everything.
and you had them in the bathtub.
Yeah,
And
it was just beautiful.
I remember
So
all those
I want to
pictures.
introduce, I guess we'll start off with, first of all, to everyone that's here today, we're going to talk about a lot of different topics, all about beautiful aging process of women and some of the challenges that we go through. And you have graciously given my all of my family and Instagram family and social media a discount code of Silver 20, I believe, Silver 20. So we'll be talking about the different products along the way, as well as just, great conversation that you're not going to want to miss. But you can use Silver 20 anytime and get 20% off your order. So without any further ado, Ira, I'm trying to think where we begin, because I feel like I want some catch up on everything. I guess I should say, back in 2014, was it 14? Okay.
15, yeah, 14, 15. It was really
Okay,
when we
so
started.
we had
Yeah.
a little powwow meeting in Einstein's Bagels, and this was an opportunity for you on your plate. And so why don't you kind of take it there? Why did you start this, the whole deal? What's the
Company. Well, just an FYI, everyone, we have an everyday wellness company and we specialize with deodorants, right? So the reason deodorants were so important for me was I had three friends that were diagnosed with breast cancer. And we'll talk more about breast cancer in a little bit. But my three friends were diagnosed, 31, 41, and 43. And their doctor was just talking about, like, it's not just what you put inside your body, but it's also what you put on your body. Because this, you guys, is your largest organ. Your skin is your largest organ. And it really takes in everything you put on it. So that being said, it was easy to switch lotions, because you could find lotions without parabens and junk and whatnot, or use an oil or whatnot. But I had a hard time finding a good deodorant that works. Like, who's out there that has found a good deodorant that actually works, that's natural? Because you may think it's aluminum free. That does not mean it is natural. So I literally made this in the kitchen of my friend's house. She showed me like a Pinterest recipe of a deodorant she was working on for her and her family. And that's where it began. I fell in love
Yeah,
with deodorant.
and I remember, I mean, you were excited, I was excited for you, but it was also like, I had no idea, that you would take it from this to where you are now. It has been extraordinary to watch, and I've been watching kind of from afar. And I have to say, I would be one of your tougher critics in your product, because, I was already in the health and wellness space. So I already knew what you just said. For me, the easiest change ever was, I knew what we put in our body, either fuels you or breaks you down. And it was easy for me to make that shift. It was harder for me to find the skincare products. It started getting better because you don't want to sacrifice, it works so great on how it feels and the toxins. So I was having a tougher time replacing makeup, especially back then. I mean, it's a whole new ball game now. But and deodorants,
Right.
when I tried like the crystals and things, there was no way. I was using the clinical grade Secret, the strongest one, because I didn't want to sweat, I didn't want to stink, and like 72 hours. I was hardcore, and so for me to switch, I needed something that was pretty much gonna act the same. And at the time, I was also, like I said, I was doing a lot of events on stage. I was on camera a lot, which means you sweat even more. Like I think you do. You're the lights, all of that. And I'll remember I think it was on Fox 5. I brought my deodorant. I said, "Oh my God, I'm in like a silk dress." It did not. So I was done. Your formula. Why is it different? Why does it?
You sent me that. I remember you sent me a note about that. You're like, dude, I was just on Fox 5. I was like, and it works. It really works. And I was like, yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. So really, the secret is the love, the passion of knowing what works for bodies, right? And not overdoing. Like a lot of people put a lot of baking soda in theirs. We don't. We put a lot more powders than most people do, just because the powder will soak it up. And the crazy part is, you know, at that point, I believe you probably have detoxed over a few days. You'd used it before, right? And when you detox, so here's something crazy, right? So everybody uses like the clinical secret and all this stuff to quit sweating. Right. And sweating is actually really good for you. But when you stop your body from sweating, it overproduces. So when you put that clinical strength on, right, and you stop it, it's like a dam. It keeps building up, right? Because it wants to get over, right? When you stop it and you let the dam flow, right? It's not a big river anymore. It's just a little bit of a trickle, right? So you actually end up sweating less than you did before. So it wasn't necessarily so much our product, you know, it was the fact that your body and your pH levels have come back.
Right, but I also believe
that
your product, because I've used plenty of other that I've tried, and especially in the, you know, now since you started, I mean, literally, I don't know if there was maybe, you know, like name drop brands or like Tom's or maybe one or two other brands, and that was it. That was on my worthy of, and like I said, failed abysmally. And even now, I have to say, I've tried some of the other brands that are out there on the market that have come to market even in the last few years, and nope. It still does not do what Freedom does. And again, for me, it's about, you know, yes, I sweat, but I don't want stains. I don't want drippy stink. And I get none of that. I get zero irritation. And it smells like essential oils. Like it has that.
It does. Yeah. So we use all natural essential oils, but I'll give you some information. And I usually don't name drop, but I'm going to name drop this time. Before Native Procter & Gamble, they had ordered a whole bunch of our deodorants, and they tried to reverse engineer them, and they couldn't reverse engineer them. And it's because I actually made the formula where they didn't make the formula. They had a manufacturer make the formula. So I was involved heavily with making our formula and knowing what works on a woman's body. And especially, I hate to say this, but an aging woman's body. Like for me, you know, and especially this last year, you know, going into menopause and everything else, you notice stuff that's different, whereas they might reverse engineer it and say it's carte blanche across the board for all women. I don't think so. I think there's certain essential oils that work better for people's bodies as well. Like I could wear some of I can't wear a peach. The peach doesn't work on me.
Why?
Right? It works
beautifully
on my daughter.
Is it just like a scent thing, or? Oops. We got a little stuck.
Your body. It's kind of like perfume. When you put perfume on yourself, and you put perfume on somebody else, it's going to smell different, right? But for me, like the bergamot mint, forget it. Like that works for me all the time. The cocoa, unbelievable. And it's just everybody's body chemistry works differently with different essential oils as well. So it's just trying to find the scent and the formula that works best for you, you know, and that's why we made them different, because all the different essential oils
I love that. I think that is amazing. Body. And you're right. I mean, obviously we have scent preference. That's one issue, but you're right. Just I love them all. I have to say, like, I'm fortunate that they all seem to work lovely, and it just depends on, is it going to, you know, am I feeling peachy, or am I feeling, I tend to love lavender, you know, love the vanilla, but you've got a whole beautiful suite of products. So I remember when you first started, your daughters were in the living room packing up everything. Like you had enlisted your three beautiful daughters. So you're single mom. Are you still single, by the way? No. Oh, you're lucky. I'm still looking, but you're.
We can have a
Oh my
conversation.
God.
I might have
Thank
to
you.
guys
That would be fabulous. I'm in. But I just see you were single at the time, and you have your three daughters, twins, I believe, or just yeah. And they were in the trenches with you.
Yep. Yeah. So when I started this company, my girls were probably like 8 and 9 years old, and the twins were 8, and the older one was 9. So I have 3 within 18 months of each other. I know it's crazy. I'm completely.
I do, and 4 grandchildren.
You have 3 also, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's gotta be so fun, though. Oh, I just want to be around for that. That's just my goal.
You did that, and then how did this transition? So, like you were, when did it get to you were in the trenches doing?
Or in my living room and in my kitchen. Like it was nuts. I didn't have a home. Like we literally cooked this up in my kitchen, and we had the kids putting labels on. My girls were like the inventory.
Wow.
And now we have 3 manufacturers. We don't do anything in my kitchen anymore. Over 400 spas. They're transitioning. We work with hotels now. We're proud partners with Marriott, which is amazing. And we're working on other products that you would never even think were filled with parabens and junk. And we're actually redoing them per the hotels.
Will it be
so it's been really cool stuff. Yeah. So some will and some won't. Some are private label, but you'll see our branding on the back. So they always allow us to put our hummingbird, a fabulous hummingbird, on the back of it. And so you'll be able to see it. But we've got big announcements that'll come in July. So that's the goal. But hopefully you'll see us all over the strip.
You have passion, a purpose. I mean, you started the brand because you have friends that were very sick from breast cancer, knowing that anyone that doesn't know, you kind of feel like you're under a rock now, but it's crazy how many people still don't know that there is definitely a correlation for sure, and negative, ingredients. You could talk more on that because you've had your experience, but one of now, this brand, ladies and gentlemen, Freedom is an easy switch. As of today, if you are using a toxic deodorant, this is your choice that works. And it's an easy fix. You can tick that box off your list of things to do. I just done the work for you. She's created this.
Yeah. Okay. So freedomdeodorant.com, and use silver 20, right? So you get 20% off your full purchase. And by the way, it's not just deodorants, you guys. Our lip balms are ridiculous. Our shower sprays. Oh my God. Have you tried the shower spray?
Yeah,
I gave you the shower spray. I said that
because I have a steamer too. So I'm like, I just spray that in.
Oh my God, girl, you just sprayed it. It's pure eucalyptus oil, and literally the whole shower turns into like your happy place. Like it's, the best steam shower you've ever been in that has got eucalyptus in it and just relaxes your body. Yeah, the shower sprays are amazing. The lip balm, I mean, you have beautiful lips.
You gotta have the lip balm.
Lip balm.
I use it. I keep it on my nightstand. I mean, I have been a fan of the lip balm from moment. Yes, love your lip balm. Forever. I think it's great. And then you've got products that I hadn't even seen before, like the Black Rose. Now,
show
the
Black Rose, and that's
tell me about that. And then here's a little mini one of the what is this? The Magic Lavender. So what's?
Oh my God, the minis are great. By the way, you guys, if you're not sure what flavor to pick, we've got a 3-pack of minis that are 3 different scents. So you can really like get a 3-pack and just figure out which perfect for like.
Travel.
You get the bigger. It'll last you 7 days, 7 to 10 days, which is awesome because there's your vacation right there, right? The minis are fantastic. They're all eco-friendly. Those minis you could find them in the VIP suites at the top end hotel rooms. And they're all paper packaging.
And you only have
which is the coolest thing.
The ingredients. There isn't a laundry list of pages of ingredients in here.
No. And by the way, you guys, you can eat it. Okay, don't, because it doesn't taste good. Don't eat your deodorant, okay? But you can absolutely eat it because it's all the ingredients are clean. Everything is all good for you in there. But if you're stranded on a desert island and you have your deodorant, you're going to live. And it's vegan, it's keto friendly. It's like gluten-free. It's everything you could possibly imagine. So, and it's good to the environment because of the paper packaging as well. Now we do have our classics. The peach is in our classic plastic. But I will tell you one thing, if you're anyone who's gone through breast cancer and has had any kind of surgery to your breast, the plastic is actually easier to put on than the paper one is. So, and that's why we kept the plastic, because we had a lot of people that sent us a note that said, we need it. Like our armpits changed, you know, and it's true. It's, you know, I was diagnosed with breast cancer a year ago.
This is a really important segue. I want to like just give this a little more time and interest. It's ironic. This all started this way, you know, the brand because of your love of friends that have gotten sick. And then I see on, you know, kind of a post on Facebook, and I'm just so taken aback that you were diagnosed with breast cancer. So take us on that journey a little bit on, you know, how, why, and where are you now? I mean, you look great. And
Thank you. Yeah, I was diagnosed March of last year. It was invasive lobular breast cancer. It's the second most common type of breast cancer. And when you get breast cancer, you actually want it to be common because they know how to treat it, right? And it was an estrogen positive breast cancer. 80% of breast cancers are estrogen positive for all the women out there.
I mean,
estrogen comes from,
so you just have too much excess and that's what's causing it?
Too much estrogen, and that could come from stress, because stress raises your cortisol level. Your cortisol levels raise your estrogen levels. Okay, so does meat, by the way. That can absolutely, meat is estrogen. You know, so if you're eating a whole bunch of meat or whatnot, that may not be that great for you. But they'll never correlate the two because they don't know the levels you have to be at. I think mine was stress for sure. There's no question about it.
What was the symptom? How did you get a diagnosis? Was there something that was bothering you, or was it a random? I go in for my mammo and they found something.
So, ladies, this is really important. Men that you're watching, tell your ladies this. This is super important. Okay, mammograms do not always pick up breast cancer. In fact, it's kind of like a 60-40 split. Okay. If you have dense breasts, 50% of women in America have dense breasts, okay? If you have dense breasts, you cannot see the tumor on a mammogram because the tumor is the same color as the denseness of your breasts. It's actually about this color white, okay? So if you have dense breasts, ladies, you have to ask for an ultrasound. No question about it, okay? You have to ask for an ultrasound or an annual MRI. Chances are they're not going to give you an annual MRI because it's very expensive and you don't want that much radiation going through your body, right? But an ultrasound is super inexpensive. It just takes a little longer and you got to push for it, okay? I found mine. I felt it. It was the top quadrant right here. I had felt it. I had gotten a mammogram and it was clean. And it kept growing. And I felt it got a little bigger. I called my, you know, about 6 months later, I called my OBGYN. She said, I'm sure it's nothing. I've had multiple cysts before. And I had big double D breasts as well. And I had another mammogram and it was clean. And I said, you know what? You have to give me an ultrasound because I know where it is. So let's just put the ultrasound right on it. And you tell me if there's anything there. So they put the ultrasound on. And then they came back and said, yeah, we're going to need to do a biopsy. And then they biopsied it. I was in Dubai. They called me. My doctor called me and said, and I was on a business trip actually in Dubai, and said, you have breast cancer. And here I am across the world, right, from home. And I called, you know, because I knew who to call. Right. So I called a good friend, a doctor named Peg Terhar, and who ended up being my surgeon, which is amazing. And she got all my documentation. And she said to me, don't worry, it's small. It's a slow grower. It probably hasn't hit anything. It's probably been there for years, this, that, whatever. And so I come back, I have an MRI, I have genetic testing, all clean. You have no nodes. It's small. It's slow growing. I chose to do a double mastectomy because I didn't want to leave. You don't know if you got everything, right? Just for me, I wanted them gone. My breasts were kind of useless at that point, right? And I opted for the double mastectomy, and my doctor even said a lumpectomy would have been fine. And after they did the double mastectomy, they removed both my breasts and put expanders in. My doctor came to me and said, thank you for choosing that, because it was a 10-centimeter tumor. It was this big. It had hit 2 lymph nodes. They actually nicknamed it the monster, because it was the kind of cancer that doesn't show up. And it's the second most common type of cancer that a woman can get in her breast.
Had you not had
this,
you're right, and I think being a part of this whole, God's plan of your freedom deodorant, you would not have had the fortitude to go get that test in a different manner than the mammogram. Just wouldn't have. I
wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have known how to do it. I mean, my company saved my life. It really did, because I knew to push for that ultrasound. And I think as women, we have to have that conversation. Don't take just a mammogram for word of mouth. If you feel something is off, right, go get an ultrasound. And by the way, let me give you some good news, right? The survival rate of breast cancer nowadays is 95%. It's freaking awesome, right? But you've got to catch it early, which means being diligent. 1 in 8 women are diagnosed with breast cancer. That's a huge number, okay? So I'm happy to say 6 surgeries later, I had a hysterectomy, I had multiple reconstructions. I have the most amazing reconstruction doctor that has had to deal with me, because I had chemo and radiation, and those two do not combine for proper implants or reconstruction. So he had to figure out how to use my own tissue to reconstruct my breasts.
About your little ladies, are they healing up nice and little compared to the double?
So much smaller. So much smaller. And I gotta say, I had double D breasts, and I have these cute little guys right now, and they're cute. Like, they're so much easier. I could do so many things easier now. But I am getting fat grafting, and I'm getting small implants put in, because right now we just have see my little girls here. This was actually my back fat. They cut my back, flipped my muscles up, and these are the rolls for my back. So Dr. Goldman, giving you a shout out for Dr. Goldman out there. He really does amazing things. And we're going to have one more surgery just to fill him out a little bit and make him a little bit rounder. But I love him. Like, it's nice to have my own body parts, recreates my own body parts for me. I had implants. I had bigger implants after the double mastectomy. My body didn't like them. So we had a big rejection issue. We had a lot of infections and 6 surgeries, and we're back to using my own tissue, which is, I'm super okay with that. And they gave me a back lift while I was at it too. It's crazy
how that kind of goes south as we get older. Even when you're not expecting, even when you kept your own weight at a consistent weight, your back just decides to, take a downturn. It just is. It's crazy. So you're in menopause now. I know we're having a little bit of an issue with the internet. I know that you mentioned that you started menopause last year. Do you think that, is there any correlation with your breast cancer and the timing of menopause, or do you think the menopause was kicked in from all of the, from the chemo and all of that? Do you think there's any correlation?
So just an FYI, when you have breast cancer, they have to put you into menopause. Okay. So they have to shut your estrogen down, because especially if it's an estrogen cancer, you don't have a choice. Like, they have to shut it down. So chemo automatically puts you into menopause. Okay. It shuts down your ovaries, just an FYI. But because I'm turning 50 this year, they weren't sure if I was going to stay in menopause. They figured I was peri, but they weren't sure how close I was. So I opted to remove my ovaries and my tubes. Laparoscopically, super easy surgery. Like, I was fine the next day. They went in, they took it out of my belly button, like, it's gone. My body actually felt better because my ovaries were going into overdrive, and they were just making my body feel and do things it wasn't supposed to be doing. So it was really great for me to have that hysterectomy. If I would have done that years ago when my doctor suggested it, I might have not had breast cancer. In all fairness,
this to you prior to any breast cancer. What was what issues were you having that conversation came about? Okay.
I was bleeding a lot. And that's usually the precipice of like, something's not working right, you know? But I ended up, for some reason, I thought that maybe at 48, I might have another kid. Crazy. Never. Right? But you don't think of it, right? You think of a hysterectomy and going into menopause like your life is over. You no longer have kids. You know, you can no longer do the things that your body was meant to do, and you're officially old, which I call that too. But when you're in it,
you feel that way. Because I went into menopause early. I'm about 10 years now, I think, and it was the most horrible. I'm going to say it because, you know, some people say it's like, some people have little. I had every single symptom except weight gain. Thank goodness for like the one thing, but literally brain fog, depression, heat, you know, hot flashes, night sweats, anger. I didn't want to be here. Thoughts of not being here anymore. If this is the life I'm going to have, it was. And for me, if it weren't for bioidentical hormones, I don't think I would be here. I really did that because it took a toll on, and I was living basically a plant-based life. I was hardly ever drinking. I mean, very minuscule. I was meditating. I was yogaing my way through. And I had all these symptoms, already living a very clean, Zen-like lifestyle. I can only imagine.
So I got to say something on that. You know, like, as much as like, you know, I'm not 100% plant-based, but I'm pretty close to vegetarian, right? I'm probably pescatarian. That's the best way to describe it for me. Yeah, you know, because here's the one thing I've realized. You guys live life, right? You don't know when it's going to be gone. I know vegans that get cancer, right? Like, it's just, you're trying to do it. Sometimes you need a little bit of help. I can't touch bioidenticals or anything with estrogen in it, but I found other things that make my life easier, you know, or lift my moods, right? Or know that this is going to happen. Like, I think that's the other part, you know. Vanessa, let me ask you a question. Like, if you knew those were the symptoms you would have, do you think you would have had an easier time going through it because you knew this was part of it? Because I think when it hits you and you don't realize,
you know, I remember I was
up.
Actually at a gala function, and I remember Carrie Marshall was with me, and she's the one that said, I'm like, oh my God, it's so hot in here. She's like, I think you might be having a hot flash. And then she told me, you know, of her doctor, and literally I went home that night and had like 15 night sweats. It was like on full blown. And I thank God that she even mentioned something to me. And I ended up co-writing a book, by the way, about menopause, because I remember I was in Vasari in my, you know, clothing boutique that I was a partner, talking to all these women, telling them about it. And they're like, oh my God, maybe I'm in that too. Literally, people walking in, customers had no idea. And I was like, you know, I'm like the town crier. When I find something I love or I'm going through, I shout it to the rooftops. Like, I just want other women to know. And while it wouldn't necessarily have made it, I mean, I would be searching. Yes, it would have been helpful to know, because then I would have a roadmap of going out for, you know, to find solutions early on, and a little more prepared. Because when you get that laundry list of what can happen with menopause is so flippin' long, and, you know, and it varies, that it is like a tsunami. At least for me, it was like a tsunami when it hit.
Yeah, no, yeah, I've heard tsunami, I've heard Mack track, I've heard everything. Like, one thing that threw me off was the joints. That hit me really hard. Your joints just
I remember seeing people like, the achy this. I'm like, why are you like that? Like, that's not like, we shouldn't have to be that way. And then I wake up one day and I'm that girl. I'm like, how?
Yeah, you're like an 80-year-old woman, like, getting out of your bed. You're like,
going on. Like, to me, it's so unfair. And I have to tell you, I never had bad menstrual cycles. So I mourned when she left. It was like a best friend. Like, I mourned that, because And, you know, and I get it's like you didn't want it. You thought maybe I'd have a baby at 48, you know, like, and you don't know. It is something that's a womanly thing. And it's just that I wasn't thinking of having more children, but it was, I didn't know any different for so long that, you know, that I've got friends that absolutely love that it's gone. I have to tell you, for me, I'm finally at a place, you know, and I know that the gray hair comes along with this. I'm finally at a place after it took radical self-care. This was probably the biggest shift aside from going, you know, doing the plant-based and really caring that I put in my body, that shift of knowing when I was going through menopause that everything, how I was operating had to change. And it wasn't going to be a change even for like a little period of time, that I needed to make, just like with the food, a complete and radical lifestyle, self-care. I needed to be so selfish in the sense of self-love to take care of myself and giving myself time and space for everything I do and how I show up, letting go of a lot of things, saying no so I can say yes to me. That to me, I'm convinced, is the only reason that I can say that here I am now, feeling so much better and in a joyful space, in spite of not, you know, having the period side of things, which I would still like to have. You know, it's
Well, listen, yeah, but the mood swings are pretty crazy. You know, I mean, that was the one thing, you know, where you're fine, and then the next minute you're like ready to rage. Like you're ready to kill someone. You know, and I heard stories, it's kind of what you were saying as well, you know, where you heard women complain about stuff or whatnot. I heard men complain about their wives. And I remember asking someone recently, I said, is your wife going through menopause? And another woman was standing there and she's like, I can't believe you just asked that. And I'm like, no, are you kidding me? I'm trying to save him a divorce right now, because in all fairness, she's struggling, right? She's struggling, and this is the time he needs to step up. And
honestly, you think about it. Back in the day, they used to put women in the crazy house. That's what in the asylum. They said they were hysteria. It was menopause. And so you're right. Men that are out there, brothers, husbands, you know, sons, friends, menopause is serious business. You will never understand it, but to have compassion about it and know that if all of your hormones were stripped and upside down, that's what it feels like. Right?
Oh my God. I mean, men get kicked in the balls and they're crying. You know what I mean? Like, this is we get kicked in our whole body. Like, it's nuts. But, you know, a couple things I found. Tart cherry, I heard, was really good for night sweats.
Capsule form.
Okay. Yep. And glucosamine is big
in the morning, and I take it right before bed.
It's a game changer. You feel so much better from that, you know. So there's things we can do, and especially, you know, one of the biggest things we can do, and Vanessa, I got to give you so much props for this, is having the conversation, right? You got to talk about it. You can't be afraid of it, because it's going to happen. Like, you've got 100% chance. Well, actually, a 90% chance. There's some people that don't have the menopausal side effects.
They say even that don't have side effects. Here's what, because I deep dove into that topic, is that they're now saying even the people that said they didn't have any issue, oftentimes, like, again, the hormone levels that aren't, it's doing nefarious stuff in the background. So you may not have a symptom that's right out front, but I think it's almost a disservice, as much as it would be like nice to not, a disservice, because what I can do, I go in and check my blood levels, check all of that I get, you know, every 4 months with my blood work. And then I can see where I am, what I need to supplement, you know, from not even just from a hormone standpoint, but from, you know, other supplementation. I get a good that. And if you don't have, you know, the thing, if you don't have that screaming elephant in the room, then you're less likely to go check, you know, maybe if you're tired, and here's the thing, we can live so optimally if we choose to. There's, you know, the aging process it's like age is just a number. I mean, yes, there's things, we don't have to wear down and break down and have all this. We have so many options in the world, not just like of procedures, but of tools, of recalibrating this beautiful computer we are, so that we can live vibrantly, a healthy longevity way into. So I'm a proponent for that. Like, even if things are like, oh, I'm feeling okay. Why feel okay when you can feel freaking fabulous?
I feel great. Like, this is the thing we got to have a conversation about. Like, I feel awesome. Like, it took me a while. I went through chemo, radiation, everything else. And it's also mindset too. You've got to have that mindset. to empower your body to actually move forward. You can't do mind over matter all the time. Cancer is cancer. Okay. So I truly believe that. Like, you need the doctors and the medicine and everything else. But as you're going through this, right? Remember when I lost all my hair? You guys, I had hair down to here. You know, it was a dark blonde. It was beautiful and straight, right? And never had a curl in it. Always wanted a curl in it, right?
Now,
I went bald,
yeah,
right?
Wait,
love your
now,
hair.
like, this is, like, I mean, yesterday it was like spiraled up. So when you go gray, curls generally.
Like, it's, right? So I lost all my hair. And all I could think about was, you know what? It's actually awesome to go through menopause bald.
Oh my
because
God.
the hot flashes come through your head. And it was so much nicer not to have hair, right? And then the hair started coming in, and I thought for sure I was going to be white, like silver. I was all about it. Nothing. Look, no, I have not colored my hair. This
what's
is
your
what
nationality?
Eastern European Jewish, Ukrainian. I'm Ukrainian, so go Ukraine. So, but look at these curls. I've never had curls before. I have thick curly hair. I don't know what to do with, right? And I mean, so you got to look at it, and I'm like, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. This is the hair I've always wanted. It's just growing out right now. So you got to have that mindset of like, I am here today. How cool is that, right? I am going to do things that are good for me today, right? I am going to look into different supplements that make me feel better. I have noticed a difference, like B complex. If I don't do my B complex every day, I don't feel as good. If I don't do my smoothie every day, I don't feel as good.
Right. So
that's
you're learning
right?
what's right for you. That to me goes back to that radical self-care. But I also think, Ira, that it's I know for me, and I think with you, with your going through your cancer, going through menopause, it's a renegotiation of everything. It's like when I ditched the hair dye, I said, this is going to be a renegotiation of everything I thought beauty was about aging, the aging process. All of that, because it was attached to this outer appearance, and I'm still working through it. I'm like, I still get Botox twice a year. I'm not ready to let go all of that. I'm working towards it every single day to love who I see in the mirror. It makes me want to weep, but we have to renegotiate that. We have to renegotiate and stop letting outside beauty standards dictate how we live our life, because you mentioned it. We got one life, one precious life. We don't know when it's going to be over. And I can speak from experience, and I think that you're doing the same thing, is that when we let go of those old habits, ideas, and start saying yes to us and things that we want to do, even though society says something different, it creates more breathing room and space and love and joy. I've never felt more beautiful in my life at 53 years young, which that ticks off people too. Whenever I say 53 years young, I get so much hate online. They're like, oh, come to grips with it. You're old. I'm like, it's not about that. I can say 53 years old. I don't care. But my point is, I'm negotiating what it means to be 53. And it doesn't mean that I'm old or young, or I feel freaking fabulous. And so I say the young equates to me vibrant, healthy. That's what I feel. And so screw the people that don't like to hear the 53 years young.
Amen, sister. I love it. I love it. And it's just, I feel better than I did before I got diagnosed.
I think that's also crazy. The radical self-care that the new way of living that you've chosen.
For sure. For sure. I took away the drinking. I took away a lot of the food. I am on the kind of meal plan that feels good to me now, right? I'm more on like a low inflammation side diet kind of deal, and it feels great. My body's not inflamed. I don't feel like crap. I will tell you though, we had Passover recently, and I had a few glasses of wine.
If I have a half a glass,
I paid for it the next day.
At night, it's horrible. It's just not.
It's horrible, and you can't sleep or anything. And I'm like sitting there going, you know what? I think we're at a point where our body's just like feeling good, and that's just poison to us, And does it mean I'll never drink again? No, but you know what? It's not as important as it was before. It's just, that's what you did to be part of the group. And it's like, you know what? We're not here to be part of the group. We're here to be us, right? Like, and let us be the best us we can be. And I feel great. Listen, I love our products. I'm so glad I started this company. I have beautiful people to talk to like yourself, and to know that you're loving life, and the adventures, and we're still here to speak another day. that's really important. Like it, you know, we're like, I got a minivan the other day. Don't laugh, everyone. The minivans are like the new Mercedes, because mine's got like seat coolers because of my menopause, right? I'm like, it's got every single, it costs more than a BMW. That's all I'm saying for my stupid little minivan, right? But that being said, it's because I love it and I can fit everybody in it, and that's what I need. And we're driving through it and we're doing all the paperwork, and I thought about like this loan, and I'm like, will I be alive at the end of this loan? Like that went through my head, you know, and because you got to think like a little bit like that. But then I thought about it and I'm like, who knows? Who knows anything, right? Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow, right? And I'm like, all right, we're done having that conversation. We're getting the van, and whatever happens, happens. And I'm just going to be the best that I can be right now today, right? And I think a lot of people forget that. They want to think about, what am I going to be here? What am I going to be there? Guess what? We're all going to get older. We're all good. And by the way, love Botox. Thank you. Don't have it here, right? Because it drops my brows every time, right? But I do get it through here. So, you know, every little bit. It doesn't mean that we gave up. It doesn't mean that, right?
Aging, my motto is aging your way. I want to say aging effing your way. That means if you like Botox or a facelift, fabulous. If you don't want to do any of it, fabulous. But women, this is your message. Women, start cheering other women on. If you may not agree with that or want it for you, but it doesn't mean that you belittle someone who does or doesn't. And I see that constantly on social media. It's not okay, not on my watch. We are here, I am here, and I know you and your brand are here to lift one another up. Start living with joy, with grace, ladies, and let people champion and freedom.
And freedom. So listen, I have to actually pick up my kids because I don't have freedom yet, because my oldest one refuses to get her driver's license.
My oldest one doesn't have, or my middle one doesn't have, she's scared to death. So there you go. I have one, she's in LA. No, she does not drive.
Okay.
So I get it.
We need to get together and have this conversation. Listen, I would love to have you back. Yes. I would like to have you on my channel, because we didn't get a chance to talk about the hair. And I want to talk about the hair because it's absolutely stunning. And I think it's a really big pivotal point.
I would love that. And I'm going to hold you to your potential love interest. All about it. Like, I've been manifesting this. That would be fabulous. So
we're going to make some intros for you. So I just want to say, everybody, find your freedom on freedomdeodorant.com. Silver
guys, this
20 is your code.
I cannot suggest, I've been using this since day one. This is what is on my armpits. This is the only deodorant that I use. I love, 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 love.
Find your freedom, you guys. So I look forward to talking to you again, Vanessa.
That.
Let's get together.
I love you so much. I'm so happy that we got together again, and you got to meet all my family and my social media family. So thank you.
Hi, social media family. Thank you for having me. Bye-bye. Find your freedom, guys. Bye.
Guys, thank you for tuning in. I hope that you enjoyed our conversation. And again, Silver 20 for 20% off of any of the Freedom products. They are beautiful. You support a woman that is on purpose, passion. You see her, Ira is beautiful. She is a shining example. She's out giving talks. She is out, doing every detail to create this beautiful brand. She has done, and that's what it's about. That's what it's about. It's about finding products that also serve a greater good. That's what Ira's done with Freedom. So thanks a lot, guys, and have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day.